What's going on, everybody? Welcome to episode 96 of the RXP podcast, the podcast where four working professionals talk all about their love for movies, TV shows, and video games. Today, I am your host. My name is Matt, and I am joined by Alex.
I am here.
Tiffany.
Happy summertime.
And Yasser.
My tongue is tingling. Hello.
Oh, I don't even know what that's referring to. But
Did you eat something
Did
spicy?
you see something spicy?
I did just eat something spicy. Thank you for
Nice.
asking.
Oh, tell me everything about it. Is it a taco?
No, it was a garden pasta. It was
Ooh.
delicious.
Nice.
Okay.
That was everything
All right,
you need to know.
That sounds delicious. You know what else was delicious, everybody? Summer Game Fest. Let me
Let's
tell
go.
you about this
Nice.
delicious goodness that we got to enjoy over the past week and a half. Summer Game Fest, if you're not familiar, is basically the E3 killer. Remember E3? It's dead. We all went to its funeral last year,
R.I.P.
the year before.
That's right.
Yeah. And Summer Game Fest kind of like filled that power vacuum. Jeff coming in there saying, hey, plants his flag. This is Summer Game Fest. So it's where all the big publishers come out, show their next big thing for 2025, 2026, maybe some things that are in 2024 that we can definitely talk about. So today, the goal is to really just talk about our hype levels. Where are we at? Did any of these trailers work for us? What are some things that we wanted to talk about? So this is going, technically, the PlayStation State of Play was about a week before Summer Game Fest live. But we're still going to include it because it's still in that kind of Summer Game Fest E3 era couple weeks. So who wants to talk about ASTROBOT? We just got started.
Yep.
If we're talking about State of Play, we've got to talk about ASTROBOT. To me personally, I did not know that this was happening. I think, Alex, you might have been the first person that that mentioned ASTROBOT to me. Like, it was a group text and you had just texted ASTROBOT couple hours before, so I figured there was some leak or something. So I had no idea that this was going to happen, but honestly, this might be my most anticipated game for the rest of the year. This looks excellent. I want Super Mario Odyssey 2. We're not getting that probably, but man, ASTROBOT is here, coming out birthday week for Yas and myself, so pumped. How'd you guys feel about it?
I felt great. I mean, I spent $86 on getting it on Fantasy Critic.
You spent a lot of money.
Should
Listen,
have spent more.
Matt, how much did you spend? You tried to get it
I think
too.
I did 80.
Yeah, you're
See?
it has to be enough.
see? No,
Yeah.
no. I literally looked up how much any one person could put. I saw that Alex had about $84.
He could have.
And-
Yeah, Matt could have done it.
And then Matt,
could've
I
done
was
it.
like, Matt's probably going to put $85. I'm going to put $86. That's literally...
It's forever going to be the game that got away. I have cried myself to sleep for 2 weeks now.
Yep.
Just thinking about ASTROBOT.
I'm waiting
and
for that
90 plus that's
sweet-
about to hit.
Yeah, that sweet 99 score. Well, to be fair, I think it's
Oh
gonna,
my god.
it's gonna get like a 98. I think it's getting a 98. It's gonna save my draft. That's all I have. That's why.
What
I
did the
it.
first ASTROBOT get?
I don't even think it.
The
did
demo
even get-
game, basically.
I don't know that.
Listen,
that
I'm all
even
about
got
the hype
rated.
train. All about crazy optimism. Ain't no way any game's going to get a 98, right? Elden Ring got what? 94, 95?
I thought that got like a 96. Breath of the Wild has like a 98.
Okay. All right. Well, I
Okay,
hope
here's
ASTROBOT gets there for you.
Compare ASTROBOT to The Legend of Zelda.
Yeah.
How dare you?
I think the ASTROBOT has mass market appeal. I'm excited for it. It's going to have over 80 levels.
Yeah.
It's going to be $60. It's not going to be a $70 game, but $60 with every penny. They just announced that it's going to come out with free DLC with challenge levels or something. We all know that I gave up very quickly on the Knitted Night Trials in Sackboy's Big Adventure, so I will likely not be playing the free DLC that comes out with this game, but I'm actually quite excited about it. Legit, I think that, well, first of all, Alex is planning on getting on release, and since he's a very studious and diligent gamer, he'll be completing that game and then letting me borrow the copy.
Love it.
Because I don't know that
She doesn't want to support Sony.
How dare you
hard-earned money.
say it like that? I know that
She
I'm
will
just not
spend
gonna
her
get to it.
fake Monopoly money on it, but not one dime of her real money.
No. But I'm genuinely excited to play it, and I think I'm kind of with you. I don't really know what else is coming out. Like, I'm not really, even I look at my fantasy critic and look at the games that have yet to come out, and none of the games on my roster are really anything that I'm like, oh yeah, I need to get it day one. Granted, this year has been very low gaming for me, but who knows what the second half of the year will unfold. Like, I could turn into
This could be it.
I'm in my metamorphosis cocoon right now. I could be like coming out as a butterfly and playing my video games again, just done hibernating.
Mm-hmm. Are you, Alex, since you're kind of shelling out the cash, are you going to get the deluxe edition for this?
Is it the deluxe digital only? I don't think there's a physical
is it digital
deluxe.
only?
Yeah, there's no physical
Wow.
deluxe.
I'm sure there's an
So-
essay that we could write about that being digital deluxe only.
I mean, obviously
s-
they're pushing a sort of agenda here, trying
That's
to
true. That's
trying
true.
to get those digital sales, bigger cut of the pie instead of having to fork it over to the retailer. But no, I mean, I'm still going physical. Like, right, Sony's gonna get their money either way, but I'd prefer it on
True.
disc. But yeah, no, not to hype it up, but right, it could be maybe the next biggest game of the year, right? We do have a few other
Yeah.
things coming out after it, namely speaking, Metaphor Refantasio, right, that turn-based RPG from Atlas. And obviously, Call of Duty Black Ops 6 is going to do well, as
It's going to be
per
huge. Mhm.
the usual, Call of Duty yearly release. It's going to land pretty hard. But no, yeah, super excited for it, mostly because of the music, right? Like, obviously, we know Astrobot as a good platformer, has great DualSense integration, right? Right, Playroom coming with the PS5 was such a great introduction to be like, oh, this is what, if a developer really wanted to try and like put all that effort to like integrate all the features, like this is what the DualSense can feel like, and that's great. But I'm mostly excited for the music. The trailer, obviously they had a few of the old songs in there, obviously remixed, updated, but stuff like the SSD song from Playroom and like
Classic.
that level of like
Mhm.
fun and just like over joyous tune, like that's what I'm expecting here. Headphones are going to be on. I don't want to hear anything else. I just want to hear SSD humming in the background and whatever else they've cooked up. So I'm mostly like, that's what surprises me. I know it's going to be a fun time gameplay wise, but I'm mostly excited for the music.
You know what? As you're describing this, I desperately I wonder if I should just get it on release and literally try my damnedest to plat it before you. Because I platinumed the little game that came with PlayStation 5 before both of you, mainly because I physically had a PlayStation before both of you. But like, I remember
Literally unplayable.
yeah, you guys couldn't play it, but I was like, I like did it in. Actually, it might have been. I think I did it in one night. Maybe it was
Yeah.
a night in like the morning. I don't
For
know.
sure. For sure.
But I was like, this was so fun. Look at my platinum, and like I sent it to you guys.
That was my first ever platinum. Was that little pack and play because
Oh,
I
yeah.
didn't have PS4 or PS3. I wonder because DualSense. Remember like the DualSense integration for the little pack and play. That was the best. You like felt
Yes.
raindrops on your DualSense. And no game still to this day. Like
Has
yeah,
that.
sure. If they have like a bow and arrow, you're gonna feel a little bit of the DualSense, but. Still, nothing to this day has been as good as that pack and play. I wonder if they're about to like go ham on this. I think that's where you're gonna get to that 90 plus area because they're not gonna miss. They're not gonna miss with this. Yes, does this interest you at all, Astrobot?
So I never finished Playroom. So I guess that's like a good starting point.
Go
yeah.
back, go back.
I thought it was cool though. I did play it. I played it and played probably the first few levels, and I really did like the DualSense integration. But to me, it felt more like a demo rather than in a full game, and so that's why I was like,
Sure.
oh, this is cool. But I'm like ready to move on to actual games that I got the PS5 for. And for me, when I first got it, like I had games I was ready to play. I didn't have like that downtime. I'm curious. I'm curious to see how this one pans out. I guess I'm just not as like solidified on it being like a GOTY contender, just because I haven't seen that much from Team Asobi, I think it is.
Yeah.
What other like big games have they made? Have they made big games?
I don't think so.
I feel like that's an Alex question. I don't
Alex.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they're
Wikipedia.
a part of Studio Japan,
Uh-huh.
which was one of Sony's
Ooh.
internal studios. But then when that got dismantled, that this team kind of survived and they reformed into becoming Team Asobi.
I see.
So they've done a lot of like support work on like other like first party Sony games, and then from their own side they've done a lot of if you remember like the iToy for the PS2, that camera, and then the PS3 had a camera peripheral as well. Like they've done a lot of like those types of games where it's like,
Sure.
I guess on the similar level to Playroom, where they're basically like tech demos in a way. And so like PSVR had a demo, right? That was also Astra's Playroom VR, I think. And then right with the Playroom on PS5. And so they basically have been the team that's helped kind of like demonstrate like this is what's capable with a lot of
Their hardware.
Yeah, their hardware.
Yeah.
And so this is kind of like one of their biggest like endeavors in terms of making a like full-fledged release.
Yeah, and I think that's really exciting because we saw that like you don't need to be a well-known developer to make a great game, a la Hogwarts Legacy just a year or two ago. So I'm excited. I think the trailer looked awesome, just like I think all of you can agree. But my expectations are a little bit lower than the three of you, at least from what I've heard. Just because I kind of want to see like what their level design is like, what their gameplay is like, and how it varies over time. In any good platformer, that's what you would expect. So I'm looking forward to it, and I'm curious to see how their debut works out, like as a full-fledged game,
Yeah, my hype level 10 out of 10, honestly, for this game.
Yeah.
I think in my mind, everything that I saw through the trailer, it looks like it's going to be straight from that Mario formula of kind of like power up of the week, of here is a level and you get a power up, like have fun. So excited for this. I was contemplating getting the digital deluxe because it has a bunch of
Costumes?
different PSN icons that you can like
Oh.
assign and everything.
Yeah.
But they didn't have, because they had Astrobot dressed as, different PlayStation characters, and I thought that was really cool. They don't have a Sly Cooper.
Oh.
So I'm not going to get the digital deluxe just because of that. So
Shame
Just
on
the
you,
digital.
$60 for me.
Yeah.
Just for me. But honestly, I'm so stoked. I can't wait to see. Yasser, you will have this in your library starting of September.
True.
Because I am 100% getting this on release.
I can't wait to see how it turns out. It
Yeah.
looks really good.
Matt, are we going to be competing on the challenge levels for the best times? Just like how they
100%.
did in
Wait.
Playroom with the notifications.
Is
How
there
do
gonna be
you
like a
do
leaderboard?
those?
Is this confirmed? Like,
There was a leaderboard in the Playroom game.
oh, okay.
And it was one of those things, if you still had it downloaded, anytime someone would beat your time, it'd be like, hey, Alex just beat it. You want to go back in? And it's like,
Okay.
is this an addiction?
I actually like
Imagine
that a
if
lot.
this was like Forza. Like
That's
every-
really funny you
every
say that
speed
because
trap.
that's exactly what I was gonna say. I remember the first Forza Horizon. One of the things I loved about it is that you would have these leaderboards and you can filter it to like the whole world or just your friends, and then like that's your motivation to come back to the game
Oh,
and
yeah.
replay those races. And so I'm curious if we're gonna have that kind of addiction for these Astrobot levels.
Because you and I have a history too, Yasser. Because Yasser will just send me a text message. It's like the Hot Wheels DLC that he's doing, and he like sends me a picture. He's like, "How'd you get this fast of a time?" And then like literally like 2 minutes later, it's another picture of him beating it by like 3 miles per hour. It's like, I know he just retried that until he got it, and then sent me a picture. I love that. Love. Can't wait. Anything else catch your all's eye? Because, this was the state of play. Honestly, for me, the rest of the state of play was kind of whatever. Like, I didn't really see anything that was like a Mac game. But besides that, we had Xbox, we had, the indie showcases, we had SGF Live, and we had Ubisoft. I think those were the bigger ones that we have. Anything else kind of pique your interest? Alex, what about you?
Yeah, there were two kind of major ones that piqued my interest. So both of them were during the Summer Game Fest presentation proper. So the first one being, and pardon my French, but it's Clair Obscur Expedition 33.
Oh my god.
So, and I did look this up. Apparently, Clair Obscur roughly translates to like half-light or essentially twilight. So
Okay.
I guess, rudimentarily speaking, it's probably like Twilight Expedition 33. But this is from an indie studio based in France, hence the French name, Sandfall Interactive. It is a turn-based RPG with, I guess, integrated real-time mechanics. So I think the very easy way to understand it is it's essentially like Mario RPG, where you're taking turns. It's a turn-based strategy game, and while you're performing your moves, you have elements of real time. So whether it's timed inputs, mash like button pressing, also real time targeting. So I guess the enemies are gonna have like specific parts you can target to be like, I want to go for the head or the body or a limb. And what piques my interest mostly is two things. One, it's being built in Unreal Engine 5. So it's one of those games that's when you see a trailer for it, it really does push the boundaries of like, oh, this game looks surprisingly good, and it's because it's being built in Unreal 5, where it feels like kind of smaller studios can get a little bit more out of their visuals, because the engine has this advanced technology in terms of lighting and just making it a little bit easier on the development side, so you don't need a huge team of people working on it. But more importantly, the devs have stated on the record a lot of their inspiration for the game is based on their love of JRPGs. So a lot of them have cited Dragon Quest, Final Fantasy, Persona, Shin Megami, like every kind of big major JRPG franchise that still exists today as inspiration for this game. And so with that in mind, like with all the real-time elements, I'm really expecting something like pretty big out of this to say, it might not necessarily be kind of a major leap in innovation for turn-based games, but at least it carries through that DNA of like, I enjoy kind of this grandiose like narrative adventure, choosing options off a menu, but also having a little bit more interactivity of saying, I'm not just, choosing attack and then, my character does it. I'm going to have some sort of interaction, to get the most out of it. So I'm looking forward to see how that comes to fruition.
That combat was wild. Like, I actually didn't remember the Clair Obscur. I just remember Expedition 33. But, like, could you imagine Final Fantasy with that type of combat style? Like, I love Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, but, like, going back to something like this would be madness. Like, it looks so good. And it comes out in 2025, which would be, like, it seems lofty to get everything done, but, man, that looks awesome. Looks so good.
I mean, yeah, I could only hope that maybe it does have kind of a reverse effect, like in case they do some like pretty great things for the genre, like maybe some Japanese devs like see that and take inspiration, and like maybe Final Fantasy 17 is similar, like we kind of go back a little bit and have that, turn-based cross real-time action, and so like that could be something, but obviously if it turns out well. So I guess I'll just go to the other thing, unless you guys had more about that.
I mean, I was just going to jump back to, like, the Lego Horizons game didn't look fun to you, Matt?
It didn't?
No, I'm asking if it didn't.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it looked great.
Oh, well, you were like, oh, PlayStation Showcase, only Astrobot. Okay, moving on.
I think that wasn't in the PlayStation Showcase. I think that was in SGF, wasn't it?
Yeah,
I think he's right.
Oh, dang.
Yeah.
It's all blurring together.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Matt. I just totally called
No,
you
no,
out.
No, you're good. You're good.
It's easy to get confused.
Yeah.
Listen, let's just talk about it because that game looks awesome. Like, that's one of those things where you guys talked about me overspending on Fantasy Critic. One, I was like, let me just fill out my team and then coast the rest of this year.
Oh, God, I wish I could.
But it looks so good. And I was like, I'm not losing Astrobot and Lego Adventures with Aloy. Like, that looks like I would not be able to sleep at all. Like, at all. And it looks so good. I've heard a few previews of people that were at SGF that says it's very fun. It's not the typical Lego team that's on this, that's working alongside Gorilla. So different team, but they basically are like, hey, have you ever thought about playing the Lego movie? Like, it is as like you're playing the Lego movie, which I'm like, perfect. I'm sold. Like if I could just play the Lego movie with that humor and just like how everything looks and it like fills in and looks and plays like a Lego movie, I would be so down. So very, very excited.
I'm interested in the fact that it doesn't look like it's just going to be the game story, because a lot of the Lego games are legitimately like a rehash of the movie, which is still great, right? Like I loved Lego Avengers. It had a lot of
Bless you.
Thank you. It had a lot of like kind of like little kid humor kind of peppered in for the Lego Avengers, but like I really liked the rehashing. Like Lego Harry Potter was a rehash of the plot, which was great, but the fact that the Lego Horizons Adventures looks completely fresh and brand new, like looks really exciting. I am only a smidge disappointed that it's not a rehash, mainly because like I've never played the two games, and so I was kind of looking for this game to be a substitute for Horizon. But I'm also hoping that it has co-op, because I love playing the Lego games with Alex.
It's couch and online. So you're not just tethered. Yeah, you're not just tethered to the couch. It's online co-op. Because I immediately, when they announced online co-op, I was like, Yasser, let's add it to the list, buddy.
We're there for that. Oh, I'm so excited for this game too. Absolutely. I think it looked great. I think the writing, like you said, totally reminds me of a Lego movie, and I'm just here for it as well. That was definitely one of the highlights that I was going to bring up when you were asking about the Summer Game Fest. This one definitely stands out, I feel.
So good. I'm so happy it's happening this year too. Like, did not expect that.
Yeah.
I don't remember exactly when it is, but
it said holiday 2024.
Yeah. A lot of these are kind of vague like that. Just holiday. We'll let you know.
Yeah. Did you notice that a bunch of places were just like 2024?
Yeah.
Trust us.
Yeah. I feel like a lot of studios are trying to make it so it's a little bit more flexible, because I think there's going to be a lot of releases at the end of this year. I think we kind of talked about that during Fantasy Critic, where a lot of like Matt's games, for example, are all kind of in this last bracket of the holiday season. And I'm curious if we'll see some dominoes hitting the ground once we see one release date and then we see a bunch of others, because everyone's trying to time it at the right time so that it doesn't coincide with something kind of similar, you know?
Yeah. Can't wait. And you and Alex can play online. You don't have to be in the same place, which is nice.
Yeah.
So is it
and
only
maybe that means that
two-player?
you both can get the I don't know if they said
confirmed?
that.
Okay. Yeah, I can't remember either.
I mean, we could
I
squad
think
up.
it might be, though. A lot of the Lego games are 2-player co-op, but if it is 4, imagine.
Yeah.
Imagine. What was your other one, Alex?
So the other one may or may not be surprising, but it was the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers Rita's Rewind.
Really?
Wow.
So this is a side-scrolling 2D beat-em-up, and it is very similar to one of my childhood favorite games for the Super Nintendo, which was just purely Mighty Morphin Power Rangers.
Let's go.
And just seeing that and then hearing the story where it's essentially a robotic Rita from the future traveling back in time to, I guess, living like flesh version of Rita, and then those two Ritas working together, right, to beat the Power Rangers. Like, that's type of storyline. That's quintessential Power Rangers. Like, I don't need anything more complicated than that. And then seeing that's a 2D beat 'em up, I'm like, I feel like in the past few years, like, it's been one of those genres similar to like Metroidvanias that have kind of like returned to the forefront of like, if you want a pure, just fun time, like, this is the type of genre you can just pick up and just kind of like get into with a lot of like care about the narrative or just like any sort of like background knowledge about like what's going on. And so stuff like, I love Streets of Rage 4. Recently, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Shredder's Revenge was added to the PlayStation catalog for extra members, so I played that a bit. Just like these throwback, modernized side-scrolling beat-em-ups have been such a refreshing breath of air compared to like other games where I like playing these massive like RPGs 50 plus hours, whereas like these arcade beat 'em ups, you can do a playthrough probably in like 2 to 3 hours tops, right? Like one session. It's such a like satisfying run through from beginning to end. And so seeing that is just another thing to add to the list of like, honestly, those are the types of games that stay installed on my machine because I know at some point I might just feel like booting it up, play a level, and then drop out. But that's what it's made for, right? Because you can just drop in and out so easily.
Yeah.
Yeah, when I watched this, I was like, "This is Shredder's Revenge,"
But Power
and
Rangers.
that like is such a huge compliment because we actually just recently played this, Yasser and I. So much fun, like complete palate cleanser. Like
Yeah.
it is, like come on, we're not paying
The
attention to
nostalgia.
the story. We're trying to, and we're making fun of it more than anything. But like it is just like pure fun chaos, and it's really really good. Is it only 2 players? Is that what you said, Alex?
No, I actually don't know. I didn't look too much into it.
I wonder if they're going to do like that mad 8-player.
I mean, I saw
that's
4
Wow.
Rangers on the screen. There was like a screen
Okay.
grab with 4 of the Rangers fighting, so I assume it's at least up to 4. But I don't know if they're going to do like the 6 for that Shredder's Revenge supports. But
Yeah, looks so good, so good.
They also had this other like rogue light beat 'em or like action game that had Vikings. Do you guys remember that? It was in Summer Games Fest. It was like a quick hot minute.
I don't know if I do.
I think it's called Medal
me
of
about it.
Tears of Metal.
Oh, is that the roguelite that's co-op?
Yes.
Okay.
It's made by
Yes,
the people
I
that
do
made
remember that.
Blood Roots. I don't know. I saw that and I was like, that looks fun to like
Yeah.
to just play and like beat up things. But at the same time, it's another like action game, which I'm still
Did you
okay
ever
with it.
play Blood Roots?
I'd never played Blood Roots, so but
I played it and it's very fun. Very
Okay.
fun. Like it is. I never beat it, but it's not one of those games where I don't know. Like I got my enjoyment out of it by like playing a bunch of levels. Because it is like literally one of those things where you are just like carrying around a sword, you throw the sword, and like the next weapon you pick up is like a carrot, and you're like beating the crap out of people with the carrot. Like it is
Okay.
like madness, arcadey. And if it's any part of that, like DNA, which like the main characters in it kind of look very similar to like the same art style as Blood Roots. So maybe.
But
it
like
kind of looked mad. Like it looked huge.
yeah, I mean, considering it's like co-op too, I think that's what's kind of really
Mm-hmm.
kind of inviting me in, or I'm intrigued. I think recently too, my gaming style's just been turned into like playing things co-op a little bit. Like Alex and I spent a weekend, or no, one day playing Moving Out 2 and like platting it. Because we were just like, I'm like, I don't have motivation to start a 50-hour RPG right now, but Moving Out 2 is free. Do you want to play that? And we're like, yeah. So then we just did it. No, it was okay. The game, it's not overcooked. Okay, guys, I'm not going to lie. I literally was waiting all Summer Games Fest long to see what Ghost Town Games was making next. I just wanted them to announce something, and I didn't get anything.
I wasn't expecting them to. Did they say that they were going to, or did they
Nope.
like hint at it? Or
No,
okay.
it's
You were
just
just
that
hoping.
Yeah, because Overcooked All You Can Eat just feels like eons ago.
Sure. I actually, funny story. Overcooked All You Can Eat got my first 10 out of 10 this year because I recently played it and beat it with some friends.
Yeah.
And it's just such a great game. I'm totally with you. Like that game
so
is so
good.
freaking good. And so I also am looking forward to what they do next. I just hope it's not overcooked because I think they did a great job with that. I'm curious to see like what else they could do. And if they want to give us more Overcooked, I prefer that to be like part of DLC for that game. So that, but either way, I wouldn't be opposed to anything that they release.
Yeah, and I didn't see any games of that vibe show up this week, that week, the last 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
Tears of
fair,
Metal.
fair.
I mean,
Right.
yeah,
Pretty close. Yeah.
kind of close, yeah.
We'll see.
Yeah, only
Um,
if you can beat the enemies with a large carrot sword.
That's right. Only if. Only if. We only ask for that. Speaking of a developer that I will just consume anything that they put out, Remedy came out and they said, hey, Alan Wake 2, remember that? Remember that, Matt? That was your game of the year last year? Well, hey, we're going to drop DLC. When are we going to drop it? Tomorrow. When are you going to play it? Immediately.
Oh.
And you know what? It was amazing. I played the DLC finished the DLC.
Nice.
But like that was announced that is like a perfect E3 shadow drop.
Yes.
Shadow drop meaning like maybe not truly a shadow drop, but like, hey, this is happening this weekend.
Yes.
Because it was just madness. Anybody who's not played Alan Wake 2 or Alan Wake in general is probably like, what? What is this? Like this weird, it just looks so strange and so bizarre. Everybody who's a fan of the series is like, yes, it's so strange and so bizarre. Isn't that great? And everybody else is just like wondering what we're on. But it was great. I really enjoyed it. I downloaded it immediately. So the deluxe edition of Alan Wake 2 is actually just an additional $20, and it counts for the 2 DLCs. So this is just the first DLC, which a lot of us were anticipating was going to be a little bit less serious and less having to do with any of the real story. And that's basically what it was. Like it was 3 episodes, really short each, probably like took a half an hour each. So really only about like an hour and a half of content. But it was really fun content, like really, really fun. It was very like it had a lot of different, like very diverse, like there was like a side scroller portion where it's like 16-bit. And then there was another portion where it's like they went above and beyond.
Yeah.
Like even to one of the episodes, it's like a text-based adventure. It's like you're in a desert.
Oh, like
Which
American
way
Nightmare
should you
kind
go?
of?
Go north, go south,
really
go
cool.
west, go east. Like you're just like clicking through it. They are just in their bag right now, and no one is firing on all cylinders like Remedy. Like I was so happy with it. I gave it a 9 out of 10. Like it was a great DLC. So happy it came out and really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Matt's over here, the guy in front of the cork board with all the red string.
Yeah.
What
does it mean? 100%.
He's like, just listen to me for a second.
I'm like, I don't understand what this last episode's about. And then I watched a YouTube video and they're like, yeah, if you haven't played Quantum Break, that last episode's not going to make any sense. I was like, oh, that's why. Got it. I need to go play that. But it's really, really great. And you're playing as people you didn't play in the original game. So you're playing as 3 different people that you did not play. One of them being Jesse from Control. So really, really cool.
Oh.
A lot of strange parallels. Really fun. Would recommend.
So one question that I have for you on that, because it was kind of unclear, and I think you kind of touched on it a bit. So it sounds like you can't get this separately. You have to get it as part of the deluxe for that game, right?
Yeah.
Okay. That sounds good. I just wanted to make sure that I was understanding that too, because I was like, wait, I don't see it as like an option to purchase on its own. Cool.
Yeah, it's basically just like a deluxe upgrade,
Yeah.
which PlayStation actually had a sale, so it was actually only $16 instead of
Oh,
20.
look at that. Nice.
Nice.
Even less.
Is it still going
Even
on?
less.
For the viewers at home?
I think so. Yeah, I think until maybe probably about the time this publishes during the
It'll probably be
PS
over.
PlayStation
It'll probably
Play.
be over.
Tiffany, hurry,
I hope you
publish
listen
it.
day 1 or you're done.
Oh my gosh.
That's awesome.
So did any other showcases show you anything exciting?
I want to hear Yasser's thoughts on Gears of War. Like Xbox, in my opinion, had the best showcase.
Yeah.
And a lot of it was because they have a lot of really great developers now, and a lot of the developers have been working and have pumped out a lot of really great stuff.
Yeah.
But not excluding their one last thing, which was Gears of War E-Day. And Yas, did this hit for you?
Oh, yeah. Oh, it hit. So let me say, I agree with you. I think they had the best piece of this showcase from Summer Game Fest, but I was going to start off by saying that I think Summer Game Fest hit for me. Like overall, it hit.
Oh.
Because
Nice.
outside of the State of Play, which also still gave us like some good stuff, which also is technically outside of State of Play, so I don't want to like really touch on it too much, but the rest of the State of Play I thought constantly had stuff that at the very least I was interested in, and in some cases I was like kind of blown away, like kind of along the lines of some of the things y'all have already mentioned between Lego Horizon and some of the other games that we've talked about. One of the ones that came up, so I'm going to touch on Gears of War, don't worry, But
Okay, yeah,
I want to touch on some of the games that I thought looked cool outside of the Xbox showcase first and foremost, and kind of get your guys' opinion on some of these. One of them that showed up or stood out to me was Harry Potter Quidditch Champions. Listen, I wanted this to be part of Hogwarts Legacy, and so it's a little disappointing that it's not. And the trailer was like, I don't know, like I think it sounds cool and it looks pretty good, but I just feel like I didn't get enough gameplay to know whether or not it's actually going to be a good game or not. And I know it's not the same developer, so it's kind of like up in the air, but this sounds like it could be really fun, like in the terms of like a Rocket League game, an online game that you can come back to and just have some fun for like an hour and then be off on whatever else you're going to do that day. What did you guys think of Quidditch Champions?
I think it looked like a mobile game.
Really?
Yeah, that's the vibe that I got.
did.
But
It gave
I
me
did
more
get
of like Fortnite vibes as far as like the aesthetic and the graphics. But I didn't think it looked so bad that it was a mobile game.
I mean, some mobile games look really
good.
now. Though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you're saying it looked like a good mobile game?
It just looked like a mobile game. That's the vibe I got.
Interesting.
But I did get
Interesting.
excited when I saw that it was free. It's gonna be free on PlayStation Plus.
Yeah, it's going to be
And
released on
so-
PlayStation Plus.
That is enough to like get me to check it out. But I can also see myself not playing for very long because in the beginning I'll be like, oh, this is fun, and then I'd like get in a lobby with like real people that like take things so seriously that I'm just
That's
like,
gonna
this
be
isn't
me.
fun anymore.
Tiffany, that's going to be me.
Yeah. Well, if I'm on your team and you're carrying the team, then I'm okay with that. But if I'm
Okay,
playing
we'll
against
see.
you, I'm gonna be like, oh my god, it's gonna be like kickball when I don't get picked. Like you're gonna pick Matt and Alex, and I'm just not gonna get picked.
No, it sounds like they're full teams. Like you can play any position that's available in Quidditch, and I think it just sounds really cool. But it really just kind of all boils down to how well they execute it, and that's where I'm just like not sure. How about you, Alex or Matt? What do y'all think?
I guess
I
I
think-
don't.
Oh, go ahead, Alex.
No, Matt. You're more of the Harry Potter.
Sure, that's true. That's true.
aficionado.
I was more interested in it just with the name than when I saw it.
Yeah.
And I mean that with all respect in the world to the devs on this team, because this looked, I've been trying desperately on my phone to figure out what it looks like, but you know those like old Xbox 360 free to play games that were always on the dashboard, and it like had your not your me, but the
your
Xbox
like avatar.
Yeah.
avatar, who's playing, like they looked like Xbox 360 avatars
Guys.
on their broomsticks.
Told
And
you,
It does
Matt.
not look
Or
that bad.
Yasser.
What are you guys
Dang.
talking about?
in my opinion, I just think it looks free to play. And
Okay,
like
fair
free to play
enough.
could be
Yes.
awesome. It could be awesome. It could be the secret sauce, and this could be the next Rocket League. Or it could be foam stars. Like
Yeah,
there is
sure.
no in between.
Sure.
And
That's a very good point.
which we still have not checked out foam stars.
I'm not gonna.
Also a
check
good
it out.
point.
It's not gonna happen.
Fall Guys. We would only hope that it's the next Fall Guys, but
Yeah, exactly.
It's launching with PlayStation Plus.
Like Rocket
I
League,
Just
like
like
Fall
Fall
Guys.
Guys.
really
And Foam Stars.
I really wish that this was part of Hogwarts Legacy
talk about
in
Yes.
that art style, but
Yeah.
it's really just not. So we'll see.
Okay. So it sounds like everyone else is lukewarm on what this looked like. I'm thinking more the potential. Alex, what do you think?
Yeah, I think because it's aiming to be like a Rocket League, right? So this is going to be a kind of a living game where they're supporting it over time. I'm mostly unsure about when we talk about being, I guess, a competitive game, right? Like technically, I feel like that's what it's gearing towards, right? Like
Maybe.
Rocket League. That is there, I guess, enough variation like in the world, or do you think they'll allow the devs to like get creative with it? Because like with how much they talk about Quidditch and Harry Potter, I don't know if there's like a lot beyond the like basic rule set. Like, will they be able to like create game modes with different rules or like different kind of variations, or is that going to be too much? And they're like, no, just stick to like what's canon about it. And that's my biggest concern.
If the pacing is good, people will play this
Yeah.
a lot. Like people play a ton of Griffball in any Halo. That's
true.
There's no rules in Griffball. Like it's literally you have a hammer and you're just beating the crap out of everybody, and it is so much fun, and it's like so quick. The respawn is right
That's like
there.
it's
Like
always hammer time.
it is so good, and it's so not complex. So if it has that secret sauce, but in my opinion, it looked a little slow. Like the locomotion of the activities looked a little bit slow. And when you're thinking about like Harry Potter, what that looked like on the screen,
Yeah.
if it doesn't match that, I don't know if it's going to like pull me in.
I definitely get all of that. Oh no, go ahead. Sorry, Tiffany.
No, I was just gonna say though, like when you think about it, it's literally the game rules are you're trying to throw the quaffle to get points, and there's people with bludgers trying to knock people off.
That's right.
But literally one asshole is running around looking for the snitch. And what if you
right.
get into a game and like literally a minute later you're like, wait, it's over. Someone found it. The other team won.
No.
The
They won't make it that easy.
But
see,
here's
that's
the thing too.
I don't.
The snitch is only 150 points. If your team is down 160 points and you're not
still lose.
and you're like your seeker's still trying to find it and try to grab it, and then he like costs you the game because he's not paying attention to the point total.
I know, but I
automatic ban.
It's just like I don't understand how like what they're gonna gatekeep the snitch. Like the snitch doesn't come out till 5 minutes into the game or something. Like that's also not the way it works in
No.
in the wizarding world. So
It's going to be complicated to figure it out. I feel like we spent too much time on this. I'm not going to lie, but I'll say this.
Not enough.
I do agree with all of y'all that the first impression wasn't great, but I think the concept isn't hard, and I think they could pull it off if the gameplay is good, like Matt said. And so I'm cautiously optimistic because I guess I'm just in this zone where like Harry Potter games that are coming out are good at this point. So I'm just gonna assume this is gonna end up pretty good. So if they can pull it off, I'm very excited. If it really does look exactly like the trailer, obviously it's going to die in like a couple weeks, but I'm cautiously optimistic. So that one was really cool. I thought that kind of came out of left field. I was expecting a Quidditch thing, but not outside of Hogwarts Legacy. I thought Outlaws getting some gameplay was also good. I felt like that continues to look like a fun game. And then I think you guys kind of caught the rest of it for the rest of the traditional Summer Game Fest thing, which to me had a lot of cool stuff. Like all the stuff that we talked about, that's cool to have on a game show where you just like release an Alan Wake DLC on the spot. That to me seemed like a fun thing to have. As far as the Xbox game show, I totally agree. I think they knocked it out of the park as far as showing what these developers have been working on for years now. And we got a lot of different things, and some things I wasn't even expecting. And I think the cool part is, I mean, I think you guys should all still watch it, at least if you have some time, or maybe watch some of the trailers that I mentioned today. But there are some really good games that are coming out even outside of Xbox too. And so that's going to be part of their strategy. We've already kind of talked about that. But one of the ones that really stood out, other than Gears, I'm getting to Gears, don't worry, Matt, was South of Midnight. Did you guys see the trailer for this game?
So good.
no, describe it to me.
I can't. But
Okay.
Think Kana.
Oh,
Kana gameplay,
sure.
but like a mix of Princess and the Frog, like Louisiana,
Yeah.
like, but also add in a little bit of Across the Spider-Verse where everything is like 15 frames per second,
Yeah.
so it like looks very animated.
There's a lot going on.
It is-
okay. I'm not into Louisiana, but like the other things sound cool. I
I
mean, I've seen Princess and the Frog.
She hates
Louisiana.
frogs.
I
What
saw
do they
Princess and
mean?
the Frog once.
Frog hater.
And you know, Tiana is okay.
There's
but
our
she's not,
second essay.
She's not
we could
Rapunzel.
write.
She's not into Louisiana. This is what we learned today, folks.
Yeah.
But yeah,
So good, though.
that game looks amazing. And so I think that one's coming out next year. And I'm really looking forward to that. I did not expect the developers of We Happy Few, Compulsion Games, to show up, but that was a nice surprise. And I thought that was the best game I saw throughout the entire Summer Game Fest overall. Some other ones that were big, Perfect Dark, big release, and it looks really good. Very surprised by that.
It looks great.
But obviously this is like the quadruple A studio that they've had forever that haven't developed anything, so it's fine. It's finally happening. And then obviously Gears of War is like a big mark for any Xbox fan. Gears of War hasn't been released. They haven't released a new game, I think, since like 2019. So obviously from that standpoint, it's big, but also they're going back to like a prequel kind of thing. And I'm curious to what you think, Matt, but I think that's a really good strategy because it kind of like helps them kind of refresh the series in a way. What do you think?
I 100% agree. Like, dude, how long have we been playing Gears of War for? And like, it is kind of, I'm not saying it's a chore because it's fun because like you and I are having fun together, but we would have fun doing anything, right?
Sure.
Like it's
yeah.
like, I don't know if I technically care about anything. Like, we spend most of our time dunking on these new characters that we have no care in the world for. But then when you see a baby Marcus and Dom, I'm like, I feel for them. Like, because I love that first trilogy. It's so good. Like, it is like a perfect trilogy. And to go back to that, where Marcus looks like, this is the dude that's like chainsawing people and like kicking down doors and curb stomping, and he looks scared out of his mind. I'm like, this is going to be good.
Yeah. No, I totally agree. I thought the trailer did a great job of kind of sneaking in Mad World. Did you notice that?
Yeah, like the original trailer.
Right when Dom picks him up before he's like about to fall, it starts playing a bit like, oh, okay, all right, I see what you guys are doing. But yeah, that one's probably a couple years out, so that's why I don't think that was one of the first games I would have mentioned. But the fact that they announced it obviously is very big for all those Gears of War fans out there, and I think the way that they're going, like the direction they're taking, is the right call.
Yeah.
But then on top of that, I just feel like there were a lot of really fun looking games that were in this showcase. And some of them are, like I said, multi-platform. So one, the new Doom game.
Yeah.
Any Doom fan is going to be like hyped for this game. This looks so good. And this has got me excited to really get into those newer Doom games that I haven't played yet, because I need to get into that, obviously.
Same.
And then there were a couple multiplayer games. Obviously, me being the multiplayer guy, I'm going to mention them. Fragpunk. Anyone see this trailer? It's like Valorant, but with like a card system. Obviously, if you're not into multiplayer games, this is like not going to be for you, but it actually looks really cool. And I'm pretty sure, or actually, I'm not sure if this was on all platforms. It might just be Xbox and PC, but it looks really cool. And so that was, I just want to know more about that game. I want more gameplay, but the trailer looked amazing. What do you think, Alex?
Yeah, the aesthetic seems to be kind of, it reminds me of Need for Speed Unbound.
Yeah, that's true.
So that took the similar style of having kind of realistic like vehicles and environments, but then adding this kind of like, I don't even know what to call, like punk, aesthetic, like effect, like over top of everything. So like, even though you're shooting and mechanically everything's a little bit more realistic, you're having this extra level of like personality with like the colors, like the neon, the very kind of like punk, graffiti style effects. And I think that does add a lot of like interesting potential to it. Obviously I hope that's not just the gimmick of visuals, because I felt like in Unbound it kind of stopped there. Where like it looked good, like I really enjoyed that aesthetic, but it didn't really add anything to the gameplay. And not to say Need for Speed has bad racing gameplay, but looking at other racing games, it didn't really innovate in its core premise.
Totally.
So I think hopefully Fragpunk kind of follows a similar line where it's like, we're not just relying on the look to carry this, like the core shooting and like the modes and everything needs to carry itself right before I even care about what it looks like.
No, that's exactly why I want to see more gameplay, because that's my exact concern. I thought that Need for Speed game was going to be the game that gets me into Need for Speed again, and it just wasn't, obviously for obvious reasons with the gameplay itself and the writing. So I don't want this to be the same thing. But from what we've seen so far, it looks really cool. And so I just want to see more. And I know there's going to be a beta at the end of this month, I think, in June. So looking forward to see more of that. I'm not going to go through like the long list here, but the other big ones, Fable got a big trailer. That one is going to be soon. I think that's next year as well. That one looks amazing and looks hilarious. And then lastly, let me think. I'm trying to think of what that last thing that I had was.
Find that last thing. Let me talk about Fable for a second.
Sure, Fable.
That is easily going to be my most anticipated 2025 game. Like, I love it. Every time they show it, I'm like, why? Just Just keep cooking it.
Yeah.
And like, I don't want to see any more.
Oh, yeah.
But then every time they show a trailer, I'm like, yes,
Keep cooking.
show me one more trailer.
Wait, so did they announce 2025?
Yeah.
For that one?
They did.
Yeah. Mhm.
Okay, nice.
Which is a huge deal. Like that's so huge. Like this is Playground Games, which are the people behind Forza Horizon. Great open worlds. A living open world for a game that is just cars. And I am so excited to see their take on Fable. I worried a little bit because Lionhead Studios were the developers for the first 3 games that I love. They closed, and they are British team, have great British humor, and that is what Fable is. Like, Fable is a fantasy game that has great humor, does not take itself too seriously, and I was a little bit curious if that would go away with like different developers. Right. And every trailer we get, I'm like, this is perfect. Like, this is the tone of Fable.
Nice.
I cannot wait.
Yeah. And I don't know how I forgot this because it had the most memorable trailer to me. Only just because of like what happened. But did you all see the Diablo 4 like DLC trailer?
Oh my gosh.
This is literally the only trailer in all of Summer Game Fest that had to have a disclaimer beforehand saying, we're about to show you some disturbing images. Just be aware. Now,
it was too much.
It was a lot. I was like, wait, what?
Stop watching.
It was insane. I think Diablo in general does amazing with their cutscenes and their motion capture. But it'll be interesting to see how good the DLC actually is. I feel like a lot of Diablo fans are on the upswing now on where Diablo is headed. And I think they kind of need to capitalize on this DLC. So if it's as good as what they're saying it is, then it's going to be pretty exciting. And that's coming out, I think, later this year. So overall, I think Summer Game Fest kind of hit for me. Like, there were so many cool trailers throughout like all the different publishers that showed up that I think this was like a nice successor to E3, even if maybe it's not quite the same, you know? Like, especially with the fact that E3 was in person, you can feel the hype for some of these games, which you just can't do here. Outside of that, I feel like they definitely delivered as far as just having a game show that celebrates gaming, celebrates what's coming out, and gets you hyped for what's coming in the next year or two.
And
I think I had... Oh, go ahead, Alex.
I was just going to say, I'm also kind of high on this, mostly for the fact that not a lot more is coming out this year, because I'm in that boat where I'm like, so many things have already come out that I still want to get to. And there's already things that are still slated for the rest of the year that I want to get to. So I'm like, you guys showed a lot of things that have a 2025 release date, and that's great.
Yeah.
Because I'll enjoy it next year when I have time.
Yeah.
Well, here's the problem. Some of the 2024 games that I didn't know if I would hit for me definitely look intriguing to me. Like the Metal Gear Solid 4 that kind of got a release date for November
on accident
by GameSpot during SGF. Like, that looks great. Like, the more that they showed about that looked great. Even so, some of the Ubisoft games are not usually my cup of tea. And Star Wars game, what is it called?
Outlaws.
Yeah. I was about to say Rogue One. I was like, that's not right. Outlaws
that
looked
already came
awesome. Yeah, like, it looked amazing, and it looked like something that I would definitely sink a ton of time in. And then, honestly, the new Assassin's Creed,
it looks pretty sweet.
Looked really awesome. Like, what they showed of it, I was like, is this what gets me back? Is this it? Like, is this what gets me back? And it might be. Like, I don't know. Depending upon what the reviews are like, and I just really enjoyed everything that they showed between those two games. Everything else in that conference, you could have thrown away or told me it doesn't exist, and I would never know. Like, is X Defiant a real game? Have no idea. That's not my type of game. But those two games,
it is real, Matt. It's out right now. You can download it right now.
But why? When I could be reliving my early 2000s, I'm literally today playing 1,000 Year Door on my Switch, and then playing Sly Cooper and the Thievius Raccoonus, which the PS2 port came on the PS5 this past week.
Oh
like,
my gosh.
It released yesterday, and I was like, $10, take it. I will play that game. Bring me the rest, please. So I'm literally living in the early 2000s. Why would I have to play X Defiant? I have no time.
Alex,
No time.
what are your thoughts on Assassin's Creed? Aren't you the big Assassin's Creed fan in the group?
I mean, yeah, not having finished Valhalla and seeing obviously them finally jumping to Japan, right? And this has been what a lot of people have been asking for. Of like, when you think assassins, you know,
Yeah,
throughout
sure.
history,
Ninjas.
what kind of like what kind of history, like historical setting, were assassins prevalent? And obviously, like Japan has a history.
It's honestly crazy it's
of,
taken this
you
long,
know,
don't you think?
yeah, of that happening. And I don't know if it's maybe because of fear of trying to get it right? Because obviously Assassin's Creed also typically tries to stay pretty truthful to like the historical like accuracy of it for the most part, right? Like there's a lot of key events. They want to get the facts right. They're not trying to misrepresent the history in any way. And so maybe it's just like taking time to get to this point. And also it could just be, right, they saw Ghost of Tsushima and they're like, oh God, now other games are starting to take our similar open world style, but then put it in places we haven't been yet. So let's go to like all these places we haven't time traveled to. So it looks interesting. I am hesitant only because it is like falling into that just whirlwind of other things. And I'm like, I know it's going to be like in 100 hours, just like Valhalla was. And I can't commit to that when I'm going to commit to the other 100-hour game, Metaphor, which is coming out in the similar time frame. So this is like, I'll get to it eventually probably, but it'll probably be the game where I, just like Valhalla, I wait a little bit, right, to get it on sale, probably in 2025.
Yep.
But then that's the problem. When 2025 rolls around, who knows what I want to jump in on. So it's just this kind of, time management simulator game that we're playing. That's called
We're playing game within games. Yep, it's true.
Yep.
One last one I'll bring up that you guys should look at the trailer for if you haven't already is Mixtape. Looks like a fun, very
so
small
good.
game that is going to be great to experience. And I can't wait for the music. But yeah, to me, I think this was a great show. A lot of fun games. And I don't think anyone was expecting to be blown away by like this huge release that no one's heard about. But I think it delivered outside of that. Just having a great showcase of great games that are going to be coming out.
A lot to look forward to, honestly. Like for this year, like that were shown this year and next year.
Yeah.
I feel like we didn't get too many games that were 2026 and beyond, which I'm a big fan of.
Right, yeah.
Because like Metro Prime 4, where you at? Like in development hell,
vaporware.
Obviously. Yeah, that's like doesn't exist.
Actually, that's a great note though, because we should probably bring up, right, the obvious
Missing
lack
persons,
thereof is
Nintendo,
Nintendo.
Yeah, that's
Are they
true.
So, as of the time of recording, right, Nintendo hasn't had a presentation yet. There are rumors of maybe something coming in the future, but
I doubt we
for
see
right
anything.
now, we don't know.
It wouldn't
Yeah.
make sense to see anything, I feel, until like holiday season or closer to that. Don't you
No,
think?
but they usually have. I mean, they were at E3.
Yeah, I know. But I'm saying like this year, because of what's going on, they have a delayed Switch. And so everything's being delayed from that. Don't you think it would take longer for them to present something because they don't want to release or announce things too early before the Switch is ready?
I have no idea. Sometimes they typically do like to really only talk about games that come out within like 3 to 6 months of most directs, just to like manage expectations and like to give people
Except Metroid.
yeah. Well, yeah, except Metro. But that's the thing. Then they have certain situations where they're suddenly announcing something that's like in development. Like we saw literally like an announcement that was like Breath of the Wild 2 is in development like 2 years in advance, like I can never really predict what's going to happen when they're like, we're only going to show what's coming out this year, but wait, there's one more. And then we're like, so I really do hope that we get a direct in June. If not, yeah, maybe seeing something in the later, like in August, with some holiday announcements or, early spring, like the Switch
Like
2.
what's their holiday game right now? Do they have anything announced
No idea.
for the rest of this year?
Have no idea. They don't even have a Pokemon game lined up because like the
interesting.
new Legends Pokemon game is coming out in 2025. So they might actually be taking a break right now. You know?
They're basically like their business plan is basically that phrase of like, don't let anyone know your next move. Like,
Yeah.
they try to be as random as possible.
No,
And it's like, you and
this is
Yasser have really good
predictable.
points. And they're like, should they wait? Should they do it right now? They'll probably do something in between.
This is all a ploy for one specific title because they don't need anything else except for one thing to come out.
Are you about to say Silk Song right now?
Yes, Matt. You know,
Oh my god.
their next presentation, they're gonna be whipping out
Keep
Silk
dreaming,
Song.
buddy.
It's gonna headline
Keep
the direct,
dreaming.
and they're like, "This is our fall game. It doesn't matter that
Fall
we're
game.
not developing it.
Yeah, like
we
what?
are pushing this."
Why
right
would
next to Banjo 3E.
why would they? I mean, but it's not like Hollow Knight will come out on every device. So like, I don't really understand why you think it's gonna
Right,
be like
but you know, they typically like publishers want to
Those
be
indie
the kind of
directs,
the
yeah.
the
first-
announcer.
Like they want to
The
be
announcer.
associated with it, so people think, "Oh yeah, I saw that at the Nintendo thing.
It's probably
I'm gonna get it on my Nintendo."
The amounts
No.
of
Yeah, 'cause-
copium I'm seeing right now are just like off the charts.
You know, when Tiffany drafted Astrobot, and I'm like, "Man, that thing is definitely getting a 90 plus." I just need a 90 plus for myself, and so
And
well,
you're
it's
just
not gonna be that
desperate.
game. Sorry.
having banked my whole fantasy critic draft for 2024 on that Silk Song pickup, you know, we're getting to the halfway point, Team Cherry. I know you guys are in Australia. And I know you're on your winter break right now, but you know, can we
Honestly,
quicken the pace a little bit?
I wouldn't be worried if I were you. I feel like you still are in the best position out of any of our teams. You have bangers. Like even if they weren't the first
Oh, yeah.
couple that you drafted, the ones that you drafted are bangers. At least as far as like open critic scores go. So
Yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't worry about it. But you're not getting Silk Song. I'm sorry.
Are they just
You
like
counterpicked that, didn't you?
they're just
Yeah,
like
oh, I
cashing
did,
in
yeah.
the dividends?
That's a locked in 0.
I just don't know like how they've been surviving. Like how are they still making money for themselves? This is what,
Nintendo?
No, Silk
no,
Song's a bad.
Team Cherry.
Oh.
Yeah.
Probably
Yeah, I
just
don't
Silk
know.
Song sales. They're probably still selling.
Yeah,
People
you know,
can't
they
be
got all
still-
those dollary dues.
They oh my god, Alex. Please. I don't know that people are still buying that game though. That's what I'm talking about.
They'll figure something out.
It's got to be on everything right now. Like,
It
It's on
is.
Game Pass.
But that's what
Is
I'm
it
saying.
on extra?
No, but they're getting
like
large amounts of
They're
sums
getting money for
from
those.
like Microsoft and
Yeah.
PlayStation for being on those catalogs.
Okay. I'm just worried about their, financial wellness. You know what I'm saying?
That's-
So if
I-
they
that's nice
release
of
the
you.
game,
We're all hoping.
Silk Song is not
Yeah.
dead.
Oh no,
Yeah.
yeah. Silk Song will happen.
Yeah.
It's just will you
Silk
be
Song
drafting
will
it
not
next
have
year?
its
That
swan
is the
song
question.
before it comes out.
oh my gosh, Alex.
I
we
this
need
is,
to cut this man off.
I think we'll see Spider Verse before Silk Song.
Wow.
Wait, you mean the
Whoa.
movie or the movie or the game?
The movie. There's a Spider Verse movie.
The movie
Oh,
next
okay. Or
year.
game?
No, he's trying to
Oh,
manifest it.
Yeah. I forgot you also thought you were gonna watch Spider Verse this year. That's right.
Yeah.
Rip Alex's dream.
Well, that was just on my anticipate. You know, it has to be
yeah. I just messed with you.
wanted for it to even have a chance of coming out, right?
True.
Because if you don't want it, maybe they're just like,
Oh, I want
yeah,
it.
we'll delay it out. You know.
I want that Spider Verse movie so
Oh,
bad.
I want it.
Yeah.
All right, Matt, we're getting off topic.
All right. Any last things for Summer Game Fest? I think this was a good week.
I just want to shout out Metaphor again.
Oh my
Even though I was
god.
complaining how it's going to be like a 100-hour RPG. Honestly, this is going to be like in this year of JRPGs, right? Like we've had like a Dragon 8, we've had Final Fantasy 7 Rebirth. You know, as much as I love both of those like IP, like those franchises, like having at this point years and years of experience with them, and as little experience as I do with like the Persona and then Shin Megami Tensei series as a whole, I fully expect Metaphor to be the best like JRPG I played this year.
Wow.
Sheesh. Okay.
Like
sweet.
better than Rebirth, better than Infinite Wealth. Like I have a lot of hopes for it. There's a lot of quality of life they've talked about in trailers, like in presentations, where I'm like, this is what I want, like in JRPGs. You know, I don't want you to like eliminate a lot of the things that the genre has kind of come to be known for, but also I do want these kind of like streamlining features of saying, right, yes, I need to go grind at some points, but can it be as simple as like tapping a button and like, you know, changing what's traditionally turn-based combat into real-time combat, and then, you know, getting quick XP that way? Like, that's just a fun like way to help speed it up, as opposed to having to like go through menus every time. And so like that's just one example that they're streamlining amongst a bunch of other things. So I'm hopeful that Atlas comes through, right? Obviously the menus look gorgeous, still some of the best UI design in the business.
Wait, really? Oh, shit.
Yeah.
And so yeah, like
Let's
if you
check
look
this
at
out.
Persona 5 menus,
Yeah, so cool.
you look at Metaphor
Oh,
menus,
fair.
like it bleeds like personality. Like I don't
True.
think there's a game with a better UI than those two games.
What did you
So, yeah,
rate
that's for sure.
Rebirth and Like a Dragon out of 10? 9 out of 10?
Out of 10?
10 out of 10?
I mean, I never rated them, but
Oh.
In ballpark, like, are you basically saying that
Put
this
him on the spot.
Fantasia is going to be 10 out of 10 experience?
I don't think it will be perfect, because I
Okay.
think
No 10 out of 10 is
Based-
Well,
perfect.
10 out of 10
though.
does
10
it's
out of
not
10 is just
perfect.
like, this is a masterpiece.
Yeah.
Oh, sure. But usually I give a 10 out of 10 if there's like nothing I think it could do better. But
Oh.
in what I've seen, I feel like there's already a few things where I'm like, oh, maybe this could have been better. Right. But this is just my, pre-expectation, not to say that I've played a demo or anything. Like I haven't felt
Okay,
this game,
okay.
but I don't think it'll be a 10 out of 10, probably a 9 or 9.5. I think there will be some things where I'm like, this was great, but maybe this, you fixed these other things, but this could have been, rounded out a bit. But they still have time. It doesn't come out till October, so they definitely are still, working on things. So maybe it's just these initial trailers, right, still in development that they haven't sorted out yet. But hopefully we get to that point where I have nothing to complain about, and it could be a 10 out of 10. Whereas with stuff like Rebirth and Infinite Wealth, there are some things where I'm like, yeah, as much as I love these games, there's still some stuff that they could have made a little bit better. And, them being many, many multi-entry franchises, it's a little less excusable that it's not fixed or implemented at this point. So I rate those a little bit lower, but I'm
Like 8
hopeful
out of 10?
Metaphor kind of,
You'd rate those games like 8 out of 10?
I mean, I'd say maybe Rebirth is closer to 8 out of 10. I put Like a Dragon over Rebirth
Wow, okay.
Okay.
so far.
Fair. So
as-
far.
in terms of relative scores, yeah.
Okay. Fair,
And
fair,
then
fair.
Metaphor might just cut on top. It could come in the middle,
9.5.
could come below. We'll see. We'll
Yeah.
see.
Yeah, we'll see.
Can't wait. We will see all these games hopefully soon, and hopefully we have some time for them. I don't know where we're going to find that time, but it's a good problem to have. But that's this episode. Please like, subscribe, comment what you really liked from SGF. But yeah, that's it from us. Thank you, Grandmaster Doug, for the tunes, and we will see you next time.
Frog hater.
Oh, God.